Well, thank you very much. Beautiful morning show today, and let me welcome you to our Abuja studio. This is a critical day in the life of this program from this part of the country, and let me tell you why it is a critical day. There were developments in the course of last week, toward the end of last week. A court nullified arrangements being made, barred the PDP from progressing with its November 16 National Convention, elective Congress, or elective convention in Ibadan. That immediately applied the brakes on the process leading to the emergence of a new executive of the party. Some celebrated it as victory for democracy. Those who won said it was victory for democracy. And those who lost said it was judicial ambush against democracy. It's the same judgment, interpreted differently. Then somehow within hours, a number of national officers of the party were suspended by the party, and that is what we are going to interrogate. A number of officials, the national secretary of the party, the national legal advisor, and a number of others were suspended. And before we knew what was happening, there was another suspension of those who suspended those who were suspended. So, if you look at it now, the PDP, if the suspensions are to stand, has no national officials. One group suspended, that group suspended the rest. So, but it raises a number of critical questions. One is, as a party, is the PDP dying in installments? Two, who should suspend who in a political party? What is the process of suspension? Who has authority to discipline, suspend officials? And therefore, what suspension should stand? Lastly, recruitment into political party leadership. How does it proceed? How does it happen? If I'm going to be the national legal advisor of a political party, or the national secretary or national organizing secretary, how do I come into office? And how can I be removed? And then, when a party is unraveling like this, what is its implication for democracy? And because of it, because this affects the survival of our democracy, you will soon see that we are dressed in something very close to the national flag. And let me start from the right. Right on my right is Tochukwu Korea. He's a member of this team, and he is, well, my eyes are failing, the executive director, chief executive officer, Provocate Transparency and Accountability Initiative. But more and more, he's a media person. Tochukwu, you're welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
Do you feel, you see, he's in white. You see what I'm saying? He's in white. I'm in near green. Now, if I ask him what he thinks, let me introduce my next guest. Alpha Jardine, my friend of the media consultancy. Alpha, you're welcome. Alpha, you're in white too.
Yes, I am.
So white, green, white.
Yes.
Would have been reversed
That's
to
right.
green, white, green.
That's it.
In other words, what we're discussing is of something of national import.
Very much so.
Tochukwu, how do you react to what I call this kind of political impunity and rascality? Or don't you see it that way?
Indeed, you couldn't put it any better. It's unfortunate, given that this is a party that was once looked upon as a behemoth, capable of driving national rebirth and progress. To be going through a dramatic, slip down the alley is unfortunate, to say the least. It would appear to me, from a distance now, as though, or with the benefit of hindsight, rather, as though there had been a program even before the installation of this National Working Committee. Somebody or some people somewhere had determined that the PDP should die. That's the way I look at it, and that's a personal view. And I will tell you why. From the convention of October 2021 and the eventual inauguration of this NWC in December the same year, up until this moment, you didn't need to be very close to understand, to see that what was going on in the name of management of such a big organization was not in the interest of both the organization itself or anybody else in particular, or the nation. The way the party was run until Dr. Yochiayu left office unceremoniously, which was part of the telltale signs of what was coming. Unfortunately, again, you see people, custodians of the constitution of a party, who themselves refuse to be bound by the same constitution. Otherwise, it is expressly, if I knew this was the topic we were coming to discuss, I would have come here with the constitution. It's expressly stated there, and I don't know how the courts will interpret that, whether that was inconsistent with any national law, that nobody below the ladder or down the ladder had the power to suspend a higher official. So the idea of a national chairman being suspended by ward executives was indeed an aberration, which should never have allowed to stand, never have been allowed to stand. But then it stood because certain persons were determined that the Yochiayu had stepped on toes or had overstayed his welcome. Now, so from that moment up on this minute, nothing seemed to be able to hold together in the party. From one state to another, crises were instigated from the headquarters. From one state, there was not a single state before the 2023 elections in which you didn't find, legal crisis, and all of which were instigated directly or indirectly from the headquarters of the same party. And then you wonder what was happening. So you were constantly, as a leader of the party, you were constantly in fear because you didn't know who was speaking to who at the national headquarters for or against you. That's the truth. And so up until this moment, the party kept has kept, sliding
Patching up.
down and then trying to patch up. Been sliding down the abyss, as it were. And I dare to add, irredeemably so.
We'll look at that irredeemable situation. But Alpha, he raised something. He said he was wondering. Somebody will act against the constitution of his own party. Somebody would instigate crisis in his own party. I just want to find out. Can you just wake up one morning and decide to create disaster in your own family?
The answer to that,
wife, and children, and you?
the answer to that is not far-fetched. Basically, when a political party is run a base, not fulcrumed on a democracy, ideology, so much will happen. The bottom line here is what is going on is the me, myself, and I dictum. It's not about the people. It's not about a political party that should serve as a trunk through which people gain power. The democracy we are playing with today, a lot of us seem to have forgotten that this democracy was fought for. It didn't come on a platter of gold. Lives were lost, people were maimed, people's economies were decimated. So much went round around certain places, but today the beneficiaries or the benefactors have put all that behind them, and they think they can just play with the life and times of the people. Chief, what is going on here? In my opinion, the PDP caved in the very moment Jonathan left power, because we saw it. When Buhari came, the shenanigans of, body language, what have you, what have not, a lot of them went into hiding. It got to a stage where, okay, if you're on the other side, as long as you can come here, even if you're a sinner, your sins are forgiven. Look at where we are today, that a party that held sway, once purported to be the biggest party in Africa for 16 years, is about being buried. As a Nigerian, I feel very bad. I, in my little corner, fought for democracy because I thought we were actually really ready for development. I said this the last time we were here. It's not all about government of the people, for the people, and by the people. It is also about conflict resolution. But you can see that in this case, to answer your question, who is the person instigating the conflict? It is the same people that have been bestowed with power on that platform.
Yeah, well, let me stay with you. You have just said the same people who have been bestowed. Just before we came on, I was talking with a colleague of mine and he said, why are you being sentimental over power game? Power game is a soulless enterprise. It has no emotion. It's like you draw somebody's coming to stab you with a knife and you have a pistol in your hand and you're saying don't shoot him just because he had an ordinary knife. It's a game of long knives. Now why am I? He said, even in the US today, Republicans are afraid of Trump. So Trumpism is the survivor dictum. Now, but Trump is not likely to destroy the Republican Party because without party, there will be no Trump. Now, analogously, within the PDP, whatever power interests, whatever economic interests that are playing these games, know for fact that if PDP is destroyed, they have no platform to gain that power, to protect that interest, to show off their status. So why do you want to cut into shreds the very ladder that will take you up to the heights?
I may not agree with your friend's postulation, and here is why. The bottom line is that there is so much happening at the backstage that probably you and I may not see. But the bottom line also remains that for how long do you think you can go on hiding what is in plain sight? In this instance, it is what they call politics. But in my opinion, it's not the way to go. When we look at what is going on, let's say in the US today, in the next 3 years, Trump will be out of office. What becomes of the Republican Party?
Well, they say he would have installed Trumpists.
It will not last for too long, because even he, amongst his fellow Republicans, are also doing what is currently happening. They are also strategizing. They are also trying to see how they can put their own people in place for perpetuity. The bottom line is that the Nigerian scenario I find very sad. I find very sad. Because the thing is that if you destroy the very party that gave you the position, what becomes of you? But you know, in Nigeria here, whether you're APC, whether you're PDP, whether you're ABGA, whether you're what have you, there's no ideology. They know where they meet at night, and they know where they meet in the morning. There may be divergent opinions, but I can assure you that these folks are at peace
with what's happening.
With what is happening, because they all know and they all understand the game. The bottom line is that the political class in Nigeria has conspired against the people, the very people that went and voted for them, rightly or wrongly. That is what has befallen the PDP, and I can assure you that the very day Bola Ahmed Tinubu exits power, there is no guarantee that that will not follow the same way.
Okay, just hold it there. You know that I had raised the question. How do these officials come to power? What is the recruitment process? Voted into power with a BOT member, a national executive member. Must it be in representation or in defense of certain power blocks or individual power position and interest? So that when you sit in there, you are not in fact defending the party or democracy, you are defending the power block that brought you there.
It's common knowledge that party politics is a game of numbers. No island, no man is an island in politics. In politics, you network and form alliances with people, not necessarily of like minds, but who have the power to help you. You're looking for help by way of votes, and votes you can garner largely comparative to how much money you can spend. Not necessarily in buying the votes, but in the logistics of campaign. Now, somebody comes in and throws in 100 million, 200, 1 billion into your campaign, and then such a person should have a say into what happens after you win. That is how it works. Besides those that bring money, there are those also who bring influence. There are opinion molders, both at the grassroots level as well as at the top level. So these are all people who have a part to play in installing you as a member. Now, in every political party, the most critical organ of the party is the National Working Committee within the Nigerian context. Now, you might have organs like the BOT and so on, but those are just names, nomenclatures. They say BOT is the conscience of the party. It has teeth, but it can't bite. Okay, so that is why the BOT, in the case of PDP, for example, people have asked, what's the BOT doing? BOT can't do anything, because the people that manage and run the party is the National Working Committee.
I want you to address my concern. Yeah. My concern is, how do I arrive to become the National Secretary of the party?
I was coming to that.
Yes.
What I mean is, of course, it is by election However, you cannot elect yourself. You need for people to vote for you.
Very
So the hue and cry about the National Convention in Ibadan is because it's an elective convention. So the next people coming to the helm of affairs are going to be elected in that place. Now, much as it is an election and you have interest in becoming a party, the question is, like we used to say, who is your father in PDP? That is the most critical question. On whose back
are you riding
to
the position you want to occupy?
Now, because there are power blocks, like you said earlier, there are power blocks, and it's so in every political climate across the world. There are power blocks that you will plug into and be sure or relatively sure that you are going to get what you're looking for. The key challenge is that you are then not allowed to operate the way you want. You will be answerable to that structure. That's what we call it. You recall one of the presidential candidates in 2023, the people said he had no structure. That structure is just what we are talking about. It is the structure that is your conveyor belt, that is, that carries you into where.
Correct. Can we define this structure? This structure within our own national experience is there's a big man with big bag of money who can buy all the delegates on your behalf and they vote for you.
That is one.
Who can also influence people in the party to
accept
that is money. And when you have bought your way through, the big shot at the back begin to play you as if
like So that is exactly what happens. So, and if you don't have that capacity, that backup, then
you may not be able to arrive there.
No, you will just make noise and get away. Nobody will. In fact, you will be stopped. You may not even be able to get to the election. And here's how that happens. You buy the form at whatever cutthroat price they tell you to buy the form. But then at the so-called screening level, somebody makes sure that you don't go beyond that.
And that is somebody's money and influence.
Somebody say, because the other person has said, don't allow that monkey
to pass
to get beyond this point. So well, let me let
and partly lack of internal democracy.
I'm upset. Go ahead.
Partly
there are people who are governing us.
Yes, partly lack of internal democracy within these parties. Internal democracy, as it were, is largely missing, because as he did mention, these power blocks are the alpha, they are also the omega.
They are you.
They are the knife.
No, but you are Alpha Jardine, so the
Well,
Alpha.
at least Alpha is symbolically the beginning. I cannot also be the end. So when we have a problem here is these power blocks are the beginning, they are also the end. And everything in between is what they say, is what they...
Gentlemen, I want to begin to name names. I hope you don't mind. When this... Let me start from just last week, from the court judgment. When the court judgment was delivered, in the social media, what was trending was that weakest faction has stopped
the convention
in Ibadan. Wike is the minister of the Federal Capital Territory. An unrepentant, and I'm quoting him, an unrepentant member of the PDP. So, they said what the court implied was that we should go back to the grassroots, the wards, hold our congresses, and then lead up to what you want to do in Ibadan. In in a well-organized party, in a conscientious political party, how long does it take to organize those congresses? Just a minute. 2027 election is minimum of 1 year ahead, minimum. Even people are canvassing that election should be in 2026, but the Independent National Electoral Commission has not issued a statement. So we still believe that election will be in February or 2027.
Yeah.
So they have at least more than a year. Can't that party simply obey that court ruling? All the power interests, they begin their process of bringing out their war chest.
Can I
Managing their yes.
Yeah, let me explain that to you. Let me explain what is going on. This, let me say, outgoing National Working Committee.
That's no National Working Committee again.
Their tenure ends in December.
Good.
Now, so ahead of their tenure ending, there should be a national convention to elect those who take over from them. Now, the courts, having made that convention impossible, I'll tell you what's going to happen. What's going to happen is that at the expiration of their tenure, a caretaker committee must have to be set up to run the affairs of the party. Good. The question then is, which power bloc will have the upper hand in setting up that caretaker committee? That's the conflict you are seeing today. That's why one faction is suspending the other faction and the other faction is suspending the other faction. So the power play is about, okay, now that, and indeed, those who rejoice at the court judgment, they do so, they would have appointing a caretaker committee not necessarily about
your own favor.
Well, if that at that level, like my brother Jagdina said, you are holding the knife as well as the yam. So you determine who you cut what slice for. All right? So
legally or illegally,
somehow.
Irrespective of the Constitution.
Somehow.
Remember what
let me say, you may not be absolutely correct to say irrespective, because at the front, in the public view, what you are seeing is democracy, because at the end of the day, if it is option A for you, you see people queue behind a particular candidate, they vote account, and that's usually what we do, or what they did in PDP. I mean, when I used to be in PDP, the candidates' boxes will be displayed with their pictures, posters on them.
But the options have been determined in the hotel rooms.
So of course, people have gone to campaign. That is what it is called.
Can I understand?
That is what it is called.
Don't use euphemisms. I'm insisting. These campaigns are room-to-room distribution of bags of dollars.
Settlements take place at that point.
People are busy with
at the end of the day, the highest bidder steals the show. Now, the whole idea is that if you look at the place of money politics, if you he is the Lord of the manor, where he believes, as far as all democratic tenets are concerned, he
determines. In fact,
he replaces the
king is the state.
That's the whole idea. That is what is going on here. But it will not augur well for our kind of democracy. And why is this the case? Because of our heterogeneity. Nigeria is a heterogeneous society. Whether we like it or not, you know, as I will always say on this platform, the true Nigerians
or the very vehicle through which they can express,
you know, it is
their ownership of the Nigerian state.
It's deliberate. What is going on is very deliberate. It's destroying those that are making sure that this ship runs aground. Are that they are people that have been settled. They are people that have been asked to go and carry out that function. They are we live in a society where a lot of Ghana must go plays a very active role, most especially in these moves that you see, whether legally, whether illegally, whether we state it as something that is right or something that is wrong. But who is suffering from these atrocities? Permit me to use that word.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's the people.
Okay, you know that we are focusing on PDP.
No.
First is the importance of viral, viable political parties in any democracy. Apart from simply alternative choice in bringing people to power, they also provide alternative thought, alternative philosophy, alternative conversation. And any sensible leader who listens to alternatives, he can place all things on his table and make a wise choice. If he listens to himself alone, he can only end where his own thoughts can lead him. I want us to look at the implication of destroying PDP. If PDP dies as it is struggling now to keep its head above water, what happens to Nigerian democracy without alternative choice, alternative thought?
Okay. Let me start by saying that your idea of politics appears idealistic, as it were. In practical terms, politics is about who gets what, or who is in a position to share the residue. Okay, so the whole idea of politics is getting to the point where you are the one to distribute, to give to others, to share to others what they can, what you think they should get, or what you think they deserve. So it is really not about the survival of democracy or not survival of democracy here. It is getting to the part, you know, like he said, where you become the lord of the manor. Okay. That said, the angle that we have not, maybe if time permits, I'm sure it's probably an angle you want to look at, is the fact that whatever is happening within PDP may not entirely be defined or conceptualized without reference to something or someone outside the PDP. In whose best interest should the PDP die? For example, I mean, who benefits?
No, let me. I want to quote. Please allow me to give you a quote.
Okay.
The APC about 3 months ago said it was not their business to help PDP to survive. That in fact, if anything could unravel the party, that they won't mind helping it.
So the answer is clear.
There you go. You know, it would be naive of anyone to think that what is happening to PDP is entirely a PDP matter. Okay? Because it would also be naive for another party that is eager to grab the reins of power or to retain it to look away while a strong opposition is emerging. One political strategy that we have seen work over and over in this country is to destabilize opposition. One way or the other, destabilizing opposition. And if you look critically, you see that, going back to the point you raised, if PDP were to die, and maybe other parties, I'm sure we still have about 19 or 18 political parties, if those parties were viable, you probably wouldn't be so concerned about one party going down by their own indiscretion, so to speak. There will be others to provide the checks and the balances, that is required by the system to run. But the unfortunate reality is that one way or the other, by the same or similar factors, these other parties are still not viable, even up to the one that we think would have taken off like a big
the ADC
plane, is still struggling because, in my view, there is someone somewhere who does not want the
opposition
the ADC to survive, because it will not be in their interest.
Okay.
You can't be building a monster that will come
destroy you.
and destroy you.
I want to come to
yes, politics, as he was trying to make us understand, is who gets what, when, and how. But the bottom line is that politics in Nigeria has become very elitist. Elitist in the sense that it is only the political class that knows what goes in and knows what comes out. Again, the place of internal democracy even within political parties. Now, where is my worry? My worry is the people have been left aloof. The people have been run aground.
Are you a member of a political party?
I am not.
I'm sure you're no longer a member.
No, I'm no longer.
You know what? I ask this question. Political party formation and running is an elite matter. We, the people, will only bear the consequence of what they do, their sharing of money, contestation for power.
No, Chief, can I tell you something? It depends on what your definition of an elite thing is. A friend of mine wanted to run for elections in my area. I come from the Middle Belt. And elitism I'm looking for a word, help me. Elitism is not the big man out there. Elitism could be that youth leader in that village who, when he tells the youths this is the way to go,
yes,
they will go. If he tells them no, I think let's have a rethink, they will. Yes, these guys. Okay, let me give you a little story. When it was time to fund campaigns,
good,
I said we may need to get to a point where we will need to buy burkutu for the youths.
Yes.
She said, no, she's born again. She cannot buy burkutu for people, this and this and this and this and this. I said, now, how do you think we are going to penetrate the youth population that is actually in the majority? And you know that they are not looking for green bottle beer. That burkutu is what will serve them, and you'll get your votes. I don't think it was a bad
bargain,
as it were. But she refused, and she lost the election. When it was time for a postmortem, that issue came up favorably, that probably this should have been done. Because as far as they are concerned, they may not see her until another 4 years. And then this little thing that they have asked for, you have refused to give them. Why am I saying this? At the end of the day, who is the foot soldier? Who is the person that even if he dies, goes unnoticed? Is still the Nigerian people.
I want you to hold there. Alpha.
Sir.
Cole spoke about external factor. That was why I brought in the quotation from APC. I did a study on it. But there are those who think that the instability within Nigeria's political parties is beyond a local conspiracy. That the stunting of Nigeria's political party structure, development of Nigeria's political parties, amounts to stunting Nigeria's democracy. And it is in the interest of certain extra Nigerian powers that Nigeria's democracy and development are stunted.
Chief, in a country of an estimated 200 million people, there is the political, there is the economic, and so the social scenes. Nigeria is a nation that cannot exist in isolation. Why? Because there are influences, there are interests within and without. But there is even a bigger problem that sometimes we forget to talk about. Chief, what is currently happening, the gale of defections, if you see it, it is needless. Needless in the sense that if you are a governor and you are doing so well, I really don't understand why you think that being in the center will make you better. Chief, there's a problem that we are not talking about. And what is this problem? On this platform, I will say, let's be careful, because we only know where we are for today. We cannot with all certainty say this is what may come tomorrow. But I can tell you something, sir. Very soon there will be a major implosion even in the APC, because we are talking of external forces. The number one external force as far as the death of PDP is concerned is the APC. And certainly the PDP members, APC members are playing along. The implosion in the APC, I hope the APC itself will survive it. Because as far as I am concerned, any true Democrat anywhere will want to give reason to the call of opposition. But if people tell you that no, we all must be on the same boat, what happens if the ship wrecks?
Okay, I don't have that option.
If I understand the question,
yes.
You might be making reference to
some theoretical
imperialist
tendencies. Some conspiratorial theory.
You know, I don't completely agree with those imperialist dimensions.
Yes.
But of course, like you said, no country exists in isolation. There are the bargains, you know, here and there. But what happens within a system, within a political culture, is 90% determined. I mean, and we can make comparisons. We can look at other African countries where they have stable government. You know, you can look at Rwanda, you can look at South Africa, you can look at some of these places. You can even as
Ghana.
Even Kenya and Ghana. Okay, now, so where are the imperialists there? What are they? Why are they not destabilizing those systems? It is, if they are destabilizing Nigeria, it is because Nigerians are yielding themselves as tools. They have
appetite for instability.
Exactly, and they probably want to benefit off the instability themselves, which may not be completely out of.
Let me ask you a blunt question. Do you think that PDP can pull through this? But we will try to get the Deputy National Legal Advisor onto this program, but his Zoom link is not connecting, so we're not able to get him in. Okay. So do you think PDP can survive this?
It can, but how quickly or how soon is a different question. And I want to think that until this move to drive it down the alley is complete, the PDP may not be in a position to reinvent itself. The reason is, like I said, the most powerful organ of the party is the National Working Committee itself, which is the organ that is imploding as we speak. And there is absolutely nothing any other person can do. Unfortunately, those who are determined to kill the party are doing so through the courts. All right? Now, and whatever thing else you do will be seen as being disobedient to the order of that court.
No, there's something more important I want you to address very quickly.
Okay.
If PDP unravels and dies, there are three visible contestants in the 2027 presidential election. Bola Ahmed Tinubu of APC.
The incumbent.
Alhaji
Atiku Abubakar, who has virtually held ADC
in his pocket.
Peter Obi, who is hanging, floating. Do you think that the move to destroy PDP is to deny Peter Obi a platform to contest on?
I don't think so.
What's your opinion?
I don't think so.
Now, so the reason is, let me have, the next second. Yes. I know. Because Obi, before Obi, there was virtually no Labour Party. And Obi's personality gave Labour Party what it is, or what it was at the time.
And he said the people are his structure.
Yeah, so Obi could have gone to APP or NRM or any other party. I mean, not.
Thank you. Which party do you think Obi can go to?
I think he should still stay with Labour.
Is there a Labour Party?
There is a Labour Party.
Okay.
Yes.
Is there a Labour Party?
Of course, there's by the way, his SY running mate, Ahmed, has been pulling him, inviting him to the ticket is still waiting for him in Labour Party.
Okay.
So,
thank you very much. I decided to bring this question at the end because I believe some people are saying all the calculations to make sure that opposition is messed up so that people can be the prime platform on which to contest. I'm not a politician. I'm just a journalist. And I thank you very much for joining us to think together this morning, to converse on this issue. And don't forget that the conference comes again and again. For this morning, let me thank Kechukwu Korea. Tochukwu Korea is the Executive Director, CEO. I'm always having difficulty. Provocate Transparency and Accountability Initiative. Korea, thank you very much for coming. Alpha Jadin. Alpha says Alpha.
Alpha.
The beginning, but it's not the end.
Not at all.
Thank you very much. Alpha Jadin.
Symbolically.
Just symbolic.
Yes.
Thank you very much. The media consultant, my colleague on this program. Incidentally, Dr. Obinna Nwachukwu was supposed to join us, but I think he got the message wrong. Maybe it's under the weather. I do not know. Maybe tomorrow he will join us. For this morning, let me thank you for investing your time with us. Good morning.